So guys, I've had my iPhone 7 Plus for almost a month now, and this isn't going to be a full review on the device. It's just going to be my thoughts coming from an Android user. These are all the little things I just wrote down as notes, and I'm going to share with you the important things that I got from owning this device, coming from a Galaxy S7, coming from having an HTC 10, coming from using the LG G5, and just letting you know what I think about it. So let me get started, and we got to make this quick because we don't have much sunlight left. So obviously the first thing with the iPhone 7 Plus that I noticed, if you haven't seen my previous videos, it is being basically advertised as being IP67 water resistant, where if you look the facts up, IP67 water resistant means that you can put it underwater for 30 minutes at 1 meter and it's going to be okay. Well, I did an underwater unboxing almost a month ago and it didn't survive, so I had to pay, I think it's $350 to Apple to get a replacement. I mean, kudos to them because they got me the replacement really fast, considering you couldn't find the device anywhere. But that's another story. But in my mind, the waterproof ability of the iPhone 7 Plus, I don't feel as comfortable comparing it to like the Galaxy S7. Yes, the Galaxy S7 is IP68 water resistant, but I don't even really trust having this thing in the shower. I don't even trust getting it wet. Like, I'm going to use that as a last resort insurance type of thing. I'm not going to purposely get this device wet ever. Okay, so the next thing, the camera. Yes, it is really good. I don't think it's as good as the Galaxy S7. The best feature, honestly, is where you can use the 2x zoom. It's like basically, thanks to the camera right here, you can use 2x optical zoom, which comes in really handy. So let me just show you. So there is the flowers right there on my phone. If we tap this button right here, it does 2x zoom with the telephoto lens. So basically what that means is you can get in 2x zoom without decreasing the image quality at all. And you can also zoom in digitally as well. So you can get up to a 10x zoom. I mean, obviously on 10x it's not going to look as good, but you would be surprised the situations where 1x to 2x actually makes a big difference. And overall, just in comparison, like I said, to the Galaxy S7, I don't see much of a difference. The Galaxy S7, though, has a lot better autofocus. It is just so quick. And the iPhone 7 Plus, just like normal iPhones always have, the colors are more true to life versus very saturated. So if you appreciate like a natural color, you know, take a picture of the grass, it's not that green, it's just realistically green, if that makes any sense, then you'll like the iPhone 7 Plus. And also, just like another random thing that I found I don't like, when you swipe up, I believe this is called the control center. Like I said, I'm an Android user a lot, so I don't know all the names. But the brightness slider, it's kind of frustrating to do it sometimes because you have to put your finger like literally right on it like that. If you do it anywhere closer to the side, it doesn't do it. Like, see, if you just do it quick, sometimes you're gonna mess up. And with my Android phones, I could just like tap there and it would work. But no, you have to go right on the button, which I know is kind of nitpicky, but it's just something that I don't like with iOS. And I've actually had actual iOS users, like long-term iPhone users, say that they don't like that. It is kind of weird. Another thing while I have the phone right here, when I pull down, sometimes when I click on stuff like this, like, sometimes it will come up when I touch it, but then other times I have to do a force touch. So it's just very strange. Like, I swear, see, I tapped it and it worked. Like, I tapped it that one, but this one will not come up. And see, that one just worked, so I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. And also just Gmail in general. Like, sometimes I notice it freezes up a lot, like it's not as fast as Android. So that's just another issue with me being a long time like Google user, just in the Google's ecosystem. Gmail, I don't think works the best for iOS. Like, if you use Gmail on Android, it's super snappy. You get your emails right away. On iOS, they don't come in as fast. Gmail itself is very slow. Like I said, sometimes it's very laggy. And I just don't understand, like I showed you with the notifications, why sometimes I click them, they show up. Sometimes I have to force touch them to pull them up. I don't know. Like, people say that iOS is perfect, it runs smooth, but either I'm not getting something or it just doesn't work every time. So another issue with iOS, if you see your calendar right here, it has upcoming events. So on my calendar, it says PayPal due, which that's a thing on my calendar just so I remember to pay my bills. However, when you look at my calendar, you can see other things. Best Buy, Amazon, I owe someone money, Chase Sapphire, just my reminders to pay my credit cards. However, you can see that PayPal is a specific time, 7 to 8, whereas the other times are all-day events. So all-day events, for whatever reason, do not show here, which is kind of strange, and hopefully one day it doesn't make me late on my credit card payments because of that. Okay, so I kind of dissed iOS for a little bit, but a really good, this is probably the best thing I have to say about this phone. The battery life is amazing. Every single day. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Every day around 10, 11 o'clock, I plug my phone in. It's at 40 or 50%. Now, I don't use my phone heavily throughout the day, but that type of standby time I've never seen with an Android device. Like the Galaxy Note 7, I would be almost dead at the end of the day. The Galaxy S7, I would still be good, but I probably would have 20 to 30% battery life. And the screen on time just isn't as good as the iPhone 7 Plus. There was also a time where I basically was sick all day. I stayed home from work. I was just in bed, just watching YouTube videos, listening to YouTube videos. That was my TV. You know how when you stay home from work, you watch TV? I literally did that all day. And at the end of the day, I got 7.5 hours of screen on time, and the battery life was at 20%. So the battery life so far is really good. 1 month later, I can't wait to see how it lasts, 1 year later, 2 years later, to see how it handles. We know how phones work. After a while, the battery just doesn't last. So be sure to subscribe so you do know how that works down the line. I'll be letting you know. Okay, so next, obviously a change from the iPhone 6 and 6S Plus and all that good stuff. The home button itself no longer is a button. It's basically just pressure sensitive. It has something called a haptic feedback engine behind it. So when you press it, it emulates an actual click. And to me, it does feel realistic. If I closed my eyes, or if you just handed me this device, I would think it's a button. It feels really strange. It's very hard to explain. People say they had to get used to it, but I liked it from the start. Also, speaking of that, the haptic feedback engine is this big old thing behind here. So what was down here before, that's the headphone jack. So we all know the headphone jack is removed from the iPhone 7 Plus. For me, is it a big deal? No, because the only time I listen to music is when I'm either working out, which I use Bluetooth headphones for. If I'm driving to work, I use Bluetooth in my car. If I'm in my office, I use my computer speakers. I do have a pair of headphones, but I only use them when I use my PlayStation 4. I don't really use wired headphones with phones anymore. So for me personally, the removal of the headphone jack is just fine. For others, I could definitely see it being a problem. You would just have to tell yourself, hey, do I, have a lot of headphones? Is it going to be an issue? It was a risky move on Apple, but I'm sure all the other smartphone manufacturers will eventually follow suit. Okay, so next on my list, I just want to point out that yes, the screen on the iPhone 7 Plus is 5.5 inches, and it is a 1080p screen. What is that? It's a 1080p screen. So just in comparison, the Galaxy S7 has a much smaller screen, but the resolution is higher. So technically the iPhone 7 Plus, the pixels per square inch are a lot lower. The pixel density is lower. So the picture shouldn't look as good. I'm looking at the screen trying to pixel peep and stuff. I don't see any issues. To my eye, I know Apple uses the retina display terminology, but to my eye, I don't see a problem. I don't notice anything bad about having a 1080p screen in the iPhone 7 Plus. It's just a little strange and a little concerning because Apple has used the same display for such a long time. You'd think they would kind of push it up a little bit, but then again, I was just complimenting them on the battery life, and the lower resolution display does help out a lot with that, and I don't mind it, honestly. And yes, it's getting super dark. I had to jump up the f-stop on my camera, so this is as bright as it's going to be. It's going to keep getting darker, so once again, I'm going to hurry up. And last but not least, I feel like I can't end this review without mentioning the speakers. So we all know that in the Android ecosystem, like the front-facing speakers, like on the Nexus 6P, the Nexus 6, the HTC devices, before the HTC 10, were all really good. So what the iPhone 7 Plus did, it kind of released dual-facing speakers, but how it works is there is a speaker at the bottom and then also a speaker at the top. So when you play something, let me show you. Let's look up someone amazing on YouTube. So basically shut up. So basically what I'm going to show you is that you can cover the bottom and then the top still plays. So it gets a little bit dimmer, but unless you physically cover up everything, then you're good. So you can hear that. You can hear that. So combined together, it makes stereo speakers. So even if you hold your phone like this, you can still hear it, which is really good. Some phones I've had issues with where, you know, you'll hold it wrong and your hands will cover up the speaker. You're not really going to have that issue with this. The audio quality may go down a little bit, but for me, I've never encountered that at all. And just both speakers combined together and cranked up, it sounds good. Like, it's obviously the best iPhone speakers to date. And that's it, guys. That's all the points that I've basically written down or made note of in the last month of owning the iPhone 7 Plus. You know, the question is, am I going to go back to Android? Yes, I will. But, you know, right now I'm enjoying just testing out the iPhone, getting used to the iOS ecosystem. As a tech reviewer, you know, I can't really be like an Android fanboy. I mean, yes, I appreciate Android devices better, but I'm growing to like the iPhone 7 Plus as well. I owe it to myself and owe it to, you know, everyone that watches my videos to give them a fair shot. So hopefully after watching this video, you kind of see the pros of the iPhone 7 Plus, the cons of the iPhone 7 Plus, and just the quirks coming from the Android ecosystem. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more tech videos, and I'll see you later. Bye.